What's good? What's good? We are back. It was truly the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett podcast. This is episode, let me check, 125, episode 125, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. Before we get started, let me shout out some sponsors. Don't forget this podcast is sponsored by none other than Promo Palace LLC at promopalace.biz. If you need online marketing promotions for your music, your product, your brand, or your service, please check out promopalace.biz. You see it scrolling down below. Get marketing promotions at promopalace.biz. Also, last but not least, I got to shout out Dizzlebrand.com. Check them out. We got my bottle Dizzle right here. Do you Dizzle? Yes, I Dizzle. Dizzlebrand.com. A mixture of agave, tequila, cognac, orange liquor, mango mix. Just throw it on ice and it's good to go. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. There's a dozen recipes, as well as the Dizzle merchandise that you can buy on the website as well. They got hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and more different colors, and you can order online bottles of Dizzle, 3 different online order links, Emilio's Beverage, and 2 other ones as well. So check it out, dizzlebrand.com. Also, don't forget the video version of this podcast will be uploaded to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Rumble. So follow us on Rumble. And also, we'll take the video version and stream it live on 3 Twitter accounts: Twitter at Paul P Podcast, Twitter at Promo Palace LLC, and Twitter at Paul W Pickett. So check that out. Follow those accounts for more info on when the Paul Pickett podcast is streaming live on Twitter. Also, don't forget the audio version gets uploaded to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, and much, much more. All right. Let me pull up this NBA scores first. NBA season is almost over for the regular season, and playoffs will be started. I think there's only like 5 to 7 games left for most teams. As we see, Detroit beat Philly. How the hell did Detroit beat Philly? Who knows? I could tell you, James Harden just didn't do nothing. Shot poorly, didn't make no shots, and we're going to get into that later on. Atlanta beat Cleveland. Cleveland's coming back down to earth. They need Jared Allen back. I like Evan Mobley, but he still is a rookie. Darius Garland is only his second or third year in the league, and Colin Sexton's still hurt. But Cleveland's got a good future ahead of them. Brooklyn lost to the Bucks, and we're gonna get into Giannis a little bit more. Chicago beat the Clippers, and Utah beat the Lakers. Who would have knew? The Lakers might not even make the play-in tournament. Could be on the outside looking in, which is crazy. When you think of a team that has LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis, and even though Davis has been hurt, you still got Russell Westbrook and LeBron James. Let's pull up the standings. The Warriors fell down to number 4 in the West. You got Miami still number 1 in the East. Milwaukee's number 2. Boston's number 3. Philly's number 4. Chicago number 5. Toronto number 6. Cleveland fell down into the play-in tournament, like I said. Then you got Brooklyn, Charlotte, and Atlanta. Okay, then you got the West. We got Phoenix number 1, Memphis number 2. Dallas then took over that number 3 spot. Golden State number 4. Utah's number 5. And Denver's number 6. That's the thing. Utah could literally fall down to number 6. They could fall down to number 6. They're coming back down to earth. they're gonna have to make some tweaks, some adjustments, and make some moves in the offseason. Because whatever they got, it ain't it. And in the play-in, you got T-Wolves, Clippers, Pelicans, and Spurs, with the Lakers on the outside right now. So it's going to be Lakers and Spurs getting that 10th seed. If the Lakers don't get that 10th seed, I mean, oh man, this is really bad. So let me give you my Paul's power picks for the Paul Pickett podcast. Number 1, Chris Paul's back. I'm going with the Phoenix Suns. Number 2, I'm going with the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 3, I'm going with the Memphis Grizzlies. Number 4, I'm going with the Miami Heat. And damn, this is going to be a tough one. Number 5, I'm going with the Boston Celtics. So that's my top 5 for the Paul's Power Picks. All right, let me get in a couple topics. Of course, first topic, Bruce Arians retires from coaching, moves to front office, and Todd Bowles takes over. The defensive coordinator takes over as head coach. There's a lot of speculation on this move. A lot, like Bruce Arians has basically said it was time for him to retire and let Todd take over, and just move into a different role. A lot of people saying Brady pushed Arians out. My thing is, if Brady pushed Arians out, why would he not push him all the way out? Maybe Brady did give his opinion on what he felt about Bruce Arians as a coach and stressed that he wanted a different coach. I don't know if Todd Bowles would have just been it. I mean, I think that's speculation. I think that because if Brady was coming back and he was gonna push Arians out, you would think he'd be trying to bring his own coach in and whatnot. I think it's speculations. I think regardless, I think it's good for the Buccaneers still because Todd Bowles could just be the head coach and focus on defense and let Brady and the offensive coordinator focus on offense. I think it'll work. But, I don't know what kind of facts or proof there is that Brady pushed out Bruce Arians as being the head coach. And to me, it doesn't make sense because he's just moving up to the front office, which is sometimes is actually you get a pay raise and a promotion. Being a GM, I mean, I could be wrong, but a GM more likely makes more than the coaches every single time. Don't quote me on that, but I would think GMs would get paid more than coaches. So there's that. Jay Will gives Giannis the NBA crown. Giannis just passed Kareem for all-time score in Bucks history. So it made me think of two things that I want to talk about. Is Giannis the best player in the NBA? And is he the best Bucks player ever? Is he the greatest player in Bucks history? Let's start with that one first. I'm going to say yes. I mean, Kareem won a championship for the Bucks, but Kareem won with Elgin Baylor, if I'm not mistaken, or Oscar Robinson. I could be wrong, but I know Oscar Robinson, I think, was on that team. Oscar Robinson and Kareem. It could be Elgin Baylor too. Let's look this up. Bucks Bucks championships. All right, so they won one in 1971. All right, so let's see. (1971) roster. All right, so we're going to pull up their roster real quick. Let's see who they have. Kareem. So it was just Kareem and Oscar Robinson and no Elgin Baylor. But still, Oscar Robinson was the triple-double king. Triple-double until Westbrook became the triple-double king. So Kareem had one of the 75 greatest players on his team, and Giannis didn't. And Giannis is one of the 75 greatest players of all time, but he hasn't played with one of the 75 greatest players of all time. So just for that simple fact alone, I'm gonna say yes. He's passed Kareem in scoring already. He's been just as dominant. I mean, and I don't know how many years it took for Kareem to get that 14,000 points at Milwaukee, but I'm gonna say yes. Giannis is the greatest player in Milwaukee's Bucks history. It will go down as the greatest ever. Now, as far as the best player in the NBA, I'm going to say yes. Back-to-back MVP, champion. Could be winning the championship again this year. I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be, come playoff time, it's going to be hard to take out the Bucks. A fully healthy, fully loaded Bucks is going to be really, really hard to take down. I know Kevin Durant is probably the most skilled player, but he's not the most dominant player in the NBA. Joel Embiid is more dominant than him right now. Kevin Durant, yeah, he was in the MVP race early in the season and whatnot. But that was early in the season, everybody's in it. DeMar Rosen was in it early in the season. You know, there was a lot of people in it early in the season. It really doesn't count until after the All-Star break. That's when you start really evaluating who's really MVPs of this year. And you got Joel Embiid, you got Giannis, you got Joker, Ja Morant, and Luka. And Jason Tatum just creeped up in there recently. I know, and then you probably got though Booker or Chris Paul, one of those. Kevin Durant's not, he's not even in the mix, really, like that. And he might not even still been in the mix. Who knows? I'm going to say yes, Giannis is the most dominant player in the NBA, the best player in the NBA. He's pretty efficient. He imposes will in the games. Block shots, get steals, crazy 14 rebounds, 30-something points, 6 assists. It's crazy ridiculous. Yeah, Giannis is the greatest player in Milwaukee Bucks history. And I'm going to say right now, Giannis is the best player in the NBA. I'm agree with Jay Will on that. A Dookie. Even though my Tar Heels are going to take his Duke Blue Devils down, I'm agree with Jay Will that Giannis has the NBA crown. All right, let me get into this next topic. Athletes complaining because their kids have to hear them get booed. Oh, my gosh. Hold up. I got to take a shot on this. I'm supposed to put this on ice, but, like... Whew. That's why you're supposed to put it on ice. This is so laughable to me, man. This is so laughable to me, man. I mean, it is. I mean, Michael Jordan in the 80s had to play against the Pistons and the Celtics, who every time he went up for a dunk or a layup, clotheslined the hell out of them and body slammed them, power drived them, DDT'd them in the midair if they could. And he probably got boos when he didn't get the job done from the Bulls fans. He probably got boos from the Bulls fans when he couldn't get the job done. You know, if you don't want to hear boos, don't go into the entertainment business. Don't go into the entertainment business. Sports is part of the entertainment business. It's part of the entertainment business. I mean, rappers get booed off a stage. You know how many rappers get booed off a stage? If I hear one of them go home and say, man, it's messed up, man, that my son had to hear me get booed. It really gets under my skin and really bothers me that my son had to hear me be booed off of a stage. Well, then guess what? You better perform better. That's what I'm going to tell him. If a rapper sits there and cries and complains because his son had to hear him get booed off a stage, I'm going to tell him to stop being a little crybaby and work on performing better. Do a better performance. And guess what? The same applies for an athlete. You better perform better. Like, you get all these millions of dollars because all these fans are spending all this money on these tickets and this merchandise. And you're getting all these endorsements because of your fan base. And, you know, when you're not performing, well, they're going to be disappointed. It's just like I was a big fan of Joyner Lucas. And I mean, I used to be a big fan of Joyner Lucas. Now, it's just like, okay, so what? I'm not even really checking because I'm not even really impressed no more. Nothing new impresses me, you know? And he might need to find a better role model than Will Smith after what he did at the Oscars. But, yeah, man. I don't feel sympathetic for athletes crying and complaining because your son had to hear you get booed because you shot 1 for 15 with 7 turnovers and you missed all your threes or missed wide open layups and you just, I mean, you got 7 turnovers in a game. You deserve to get booed. If y'all ain't win the game, you got 7 turnovers, you deserve to get booed. Even if you did win the game, you deserve to get booed. Athletes crying because they kids got to hear them get booed. I don't feel no sympathy. Don't be an athlete. Don't try to make it in basketball. Go work a desk job. Go work at McDonald's. Go work in construction or landscaping. Work some other job where you don't get booed. But when you go in the entertainment world, you get booed. It's like if somebody boos me on the podcast and I get on my next podcast, I start crying and complaining. You know, my son had to hear me get booed on a podcast. Man, shut up. Man up. Man up. That's the problem. People can't man up no more. People ain't allowed to man up no more. You know, so I don't feel no sympathy for athletes complaining because their kids heard them get booed at a game. If you're upset about that, they either play better or don't let your kids come to the game. That's the one. There's 2 solutions right there. You know, I don't want to hear excuses. I want to hear solutions. The solution is you play better, win the games, or you don't let your kids come to the game. That's the solutions. There's no other solutions. What you think the solution is? Oh, people ain't supposed to boo you? That's the solution. People ain't supposed to boo you when you're playing like trash. Ben Simmons, Russell Westbrook, Julius Randle. We're living in a real sensitive ass times nowadays. These guys ain't even grown men no more. They little Little kids, man. Little sensitive ass kids. Little sensitive ass kids, man. Man up, deal with it. You get $35 million a year. Explain to your kid the common sense and the common knowledge of it, that it's part of the game, it's part of the entertainment business. Actors get booed. They get booed when they movies suck. Wrestlers get, you know what I mean? Wrestlers get booed all the time. Boxers, UFC, like, deal with it. Deal with it, man. For real. Don't forget, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that comment. Don't forget the audio version. This podcast also goes to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Slacker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much more. All right, let me get to the last topic of the day. James Harden and Ben Simmons trade is looking like a disaster. And this ain't going to be the last topic, because I'm going to get into something right after that's not sports related. Probably a couple of things. James Harden, Ben Simmons trade, it's a disaster. Why? James Harden's not going to get the Sixers over the top. He is starting to look like he's diminishing. This ISO ball, James Harden, just ain't working no more. He needs to go back to James Harden to just facilitating and just shooting wide open, pick and pop threes. I mean, damn, man. I mean, I've never played NBA ball, but it doesn't take, that's common sense. Don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, or an NBA pro or a vet to figure out. James Harden needs to play like he did when he first got to Brooklyn. Just facilitate and, play the pick and roll, the give and goes, shooting wide open threes when people dish them to you. Just he's forcing it. So James Harden isn't going to get the Sixers over the hump, because I got either Miami or the Bucks coming out the East, and Boston is my third. Then Ben Simmons probably won't even play this year. And, okay, he could play next year. But then that's the whole year that the Nets got to see what Ben Simmons is going to be for them. And they could waste a whole nother year and not make it to the finals. Because if Kevin Durant don't make it to the finals one time with the Nets, I have to say, like, this is the worst move ever in NBA history, for you to leave a dynasty like the Warriors. Like, Kevin Durant still at the Warriors. It's like, oh man, it still would be like somewhat unfair. It'd still be somewhat unfair. Just Kevin Durant and Steph Curry together is unfair. Then you got Clay. I mean, they probably wouldn't have Kuminga and stuff like that. And then again, who knows? They might still have. Well, actually, they wouldn't have Kuminga, but like it'd just still be really unfair. If he doesn't win a champ, now he got to at least go to the finals once. So this trade is looking like a disaster. Because if the Nets end up trading, you know what I'm thinking? James Harden is not a Sixer next year. James Harden is not a Sixer next year. Ben Simmons might not be a Net next year. Like, I heard a trade for Ben Simmons for Eric Gordon and Christian Wood to Houston. Oh, I love that trade. For the Nets, I mean, I would do that all day. You'd have Andre Drummond, Kevin Durant, Christian Wood on the front line. And then guards, you'd be guard heavy with Kyrie, Seth, Kyrie, Seth Curry, Patty Mills, and Eric Gordon. You be good, man. That's a squad. That's a squad, man. But right now it's looking like a disaster. You know, this is what I think about the Nets and Sixers trade. I haven't done that in a while. It's a disaster. All right, I'm gonna say this one last thing about Will. Will Chris Rock. People are overselling and overblowing it. They're overselling this whole thing. Will, like, I never see nobody dominate the trending page like Will Chris Rock right now. They're overselling it. And one thing that really I feel that really upsets me a little bit. I don't even really know if it upsets me, but it just kind of fucked up now that this is going to be one of the most memorable thing in Will Smith's career. Like, I've known Will Smith for being a very successful, clean, popular rapper with like 3 bona fide hit records, being the first rapper to have his own TV sitcom, being the biggest rapper turned actor of all time. You know, very positive cat. And now this is going to go down as one of the most memorable things in his career. You know, I mean, I think that sucks. I really think that sucks. Yeah, he had one bad moment that I've seen in his whole career of his actions, you know, in the public, and he's being crucified. I said I lost a little bit of respect for him, and I still did. I still did lose a little bit of respect for him because you still got to know where you at. Sometimes there's just a time and place for everything, and that wasn't the time and place for that. You know what I'm saying? And if he probably didn't do it at the Oscars, it probably cops would have probably been involved. It probably might have been criminal charges. I don't know. It's kind of like I feel like there should be some kind of punishment for what he did as far as the Oscars goes. I mean, there's a lot of people saying that Chris Rock could have filed criminal charges. He could have pressed charges, so there has to be probably some punishment on the Oscars for you to you can't just condone criminal activity. Because if a person can be brought up on charges and anything criminal, like assault, which is a criminal activities, then you can't condone it either. So some kind of punishment. Maybe he should be allowed at the next Oscars, or I don't know if maybe he should take away his Oscars. I don't know, but it just sucks that Will is one of his most memorable moments is going to be smacking Chris Rock at Oscars. I mean, and like I told my boy, like Charlie Sheen and Johnny Depp, and there's some other actors done it. Every fucked up thing you could do in Hollywood, except smack somebody at the Oscars. So it's gonna definitely go on his record forever. There's people that's always gonna hold that against Will, or that's always gonna bring it up. Let me get to this last topic of the day. This is the last topic of the day. I was watching The Way of a Cheetah on National Geographic on my Disney Plus. And it made me realize that mankind has totally strayed away from our natural states and our natural selves. We strayed away so far that now we're just making up things as we go. We're making up things like non-binary, all these pronouns, calling one person them and they. When these things have clearly, the whole world has already put a definition on these things, like singular and plural and stuff like that, for like forever until like last week, everybody's called one person like him or her or she, or we've never called one person them or they. But all of a sudden last week they want to just try to change the definition of things. It doesn't work that way. And this non-binary thing will never ever exist in my book. It's not even realistic. It's not even real. We're making up fairy tales along as we go. And another thing is, like, when I hear people say my truth, her truth, their truth. No, there's only the truth. That's all there is. There isn't my truth and her truth and his truth. There's just the truth. Facts are facts. Truth is truth. There's not three different truths to one truth. So we're just making up things along as we go, like fairy tales and make-believe things, And so we've totally strayed away from what we are, because I know we started out as something more like a cheetah, more animalistic, and now we're just totally strayed away from everything we started as, everything that made us our natural selves. Now we're just making things up as we go, make believe things and we're trying to force everybody to accept make believe as reality. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. You don't get to force make believe as reality on people. And you don't get to force people to have to speak illiterate according to proper etiquette or English etiquette or whatever. Nobody on the planet, it doesn't matter if it's Chinese, they're not saying them or they for one person. Russian, whatever, they're not saying them or they for one person. They're referring to two or more people. We refer to two or more people as them or they. You don't get to make us, just because you want to redefine what you think things are, you want to create a whole new definition of a word, doesn't mean we have to accept your definition. When the whole world has accepted one specific definition forever, until last week, of course, apparently. So yeah, the way of a cheetah just made me realize how we're just straying so far away from mankind and what makes us human so much that we're just making up make-believe fairy tales along the ways we go. Just like religion, pronouns, non-binary. No, you're one or the other. You're male or female. Because if you're not male nor female, then you're a it. You're a it. Because I'm not going to call you non-binary. I'm going to call you a it. That's the thing, And that's another thing. Like, if you want to change your name, that's fine. But if you want to tell me that you changed your sex, no, you don't get to make me have to buy into that. I will always, until the day that a biological man can get pregnant and a biological woman can knock someone up, that will never fly in my book. Never, ever, ever, ever. Forever, ever? Forever, ever. Non-binary will never fly in my book. I will never call nobody them or they. That's never flying in my book. You know, it's not happening. And I would never accept a fact that a biological man can become a woman and a biological woman can become a man. You might think you can, but you can't. Not until you could do, like I said, not to a biological man can get pregnant and breastfeed, and a biological woman can knock up a woman, can impregnate a woman. And to that happens, no, that would never fly in my book. And if that happens someday, then okay, I'll change my views, but I'm gonna put my money on it and say that's never ever gonna happen in my lifetime. So that would never fly in my book. The Way of a Cheetah. Y'all should watch it. And a lot of other National Geographic things as well about animals, because they follow the laws of nature, not the laws of man, which are made up fairy tales as we go as well too. Laws of man are just made up things. Because at the end of the day, if the economy was to collapse, if the if the whole internet would collapse, the economy collapsed right now, the laws of man would hold no weight. They hold no weight. When the economy collapses, there is no survive. It's just survival of the fittest. When it's survival of the fittest, the laws of man hold no weight. It's the laws of nature that dictate the survival of the fittest. Like, for example, on The Way of the Cheetah, you got 5 cheetahs that kill like a wild buffalo, right? And then 2 hyenas come and take the damn wild buffalo from the 5 cheetahs. They don't even really fight back because hyenas ain't no joke either. They can rip your flesh off, and next thing you know, what happens? 2 lions come run off the hyenas and take that from them. So it's survival of the fittest. Even when a cheetah kills something, you had a what was it? What's the I forgot what it's called. It looks like a fox. Hold up, let me pull this up. Jackal. The jackal. Yeah, they had, even when the cheetah killed like a buffalo or deer, the jackals, which a little jackal looked like a little fox, would try to get bold and take the food. You know, it didn't matter what it was. Survival of the fittest, man. Laws of man don't apply whatsoever. Just remember that. Once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Episode 125, Paul Pickett Podcast. Don't forget that if you like alcohol, you like tequila or cognac, or you like them together, and you like mango and orange flavor, then check out this Dizzle brand on dizzlebrand.com. You go order it online. There's 3 online order links. Just throw it on ice. It's good to go. There's dozens of recipes that you can mix your Dizzle with. Also, you can order the Dizzle brand t-shirts on that website as well. Do you Dizzle? Yes, I Dizzle. Dizzlebrand.com. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. I run the Facebook and the TikToks for Dizzle Brand personally myself. So check them out, dizzlebrand.com. Also, if you need online marketing promotions, get your marketing promotions at promopals.biz. You need blog placements, playlist pitching, SEO, press releases, social media ads, TikTok influencers, Instagram influencers, YouTube influencers, Facebook influencers, and more. Check out promopalace.biz. Also, follow us on Rumble. Video version goes to Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, and we live stream it on Twitter, 3 of the Twitter accounts, Twitter at Promo Palace LLC, Twitter at Paul P Podcast, and Twitter at Paul W Pickett. Also, audio version goes to Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, and much, much more. So, once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Episode 125, Paul Pickett Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Pickett, a.k.a. Triple P, a.k.a. the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. Peace, and I'm out.